A first world citizen is a creature who is taught from childhood to ask questions, do research, and try to understand what they don't understand instead of accepting it. While a third world citizen is a person who is taught from childhood to kiss what they don't understand, touch it with their eyes, and if they understand too much, be ashamed. One has to live the world thinking about what will happen tomorrow, the other has to live the world thinking that today will also be good. Unfortunately, this difference is not limited to childhood or education. This gap in thinking widens with age, to the point that even if a third world citizen asks for water while sitting in the metro in Europe, he tries to get a fatwa from someone first to know whether the tap is halal or not. The difference does not disappear with time, but rather he continues to be ashamed of his passport, and the same old third world "I wish" keeps ringing in his mind. I wish we were human too. The difference between the mind of a first world citizen and a third world citizen is like the difference between makeup and real skin, a veil of beauty that hides the truth inside. The third world citizen asks his state for something every day, sometimes bread, sometimes justice, sometimes electricity, sometimes honor, and sometimes freedom, and the state comes in a different face every time, sometimes as a cleric, sometimes as a general, sometimes as a politician, sometimes as a family watchman, and every time it says the same thing: be patient, this is a test for you. The first world citizen does not need to ask what the state is doing, because there the state does not come to the door of the house, but only on time, a salary, a pension on retirement, an ambulance when sick, a stipend when having a child, and a decent coffin when dying. If a third world citizen is allowed to breathe without smoke, he prostrates himself in gratitude, and the next day he cooks breakfast in the same smoke, which may be charcoal left over from the night or the government's new environmentally friendly policy. When a first world citizen goes out on the road, he knows that he will neither fall into a gutter, nor endure the humiliation of an officer at a square, nor listen to a lecture from a uniformed person, nor be killed in a religious procession, nor will he be killed. When a third world citizen leaves home, he even puts on his shoes with a prayer that, "Oh God, may I return alive today." The thinking of a first world citizen is based on long-term planning. He thinks about where to spend his vacation next year or when his car insurance is ending. The thinking of a third world citizen is stuck on the issue of whether pulses become expensive today, how will he feed his child tomorrow, or how will the school fees be paid, or who should prioritize the electricity bill and the relationship between life and death. The mind of a first world citizen runs on a timetable like a train, and the mind of a third world citizen is an expert in uncertain situations who always travels with his foot on both the brake and accelerator at the same time, not knowing when the police will set up a roadblock, when the water line will burst, when religion will be in danger, or when a leader will come to sell old promises with new dreams. The first world citizen reads books, watches theater, goes to museums, and the third world citizen listens to rallies, reads funerals, distributes fatwas, and spends most of his time on Facebook, where he is simultaneously an expert in every knowledge, an interpreter of every religion, and a secret of every conspiracy. For a first world citizen, the state and religion are kept in separate files, while for a third world citizen, these two files are always confused, and every new problem arises from this confusion, like prescribing a five-spice extract to comb a child's natural hair and later declaring the child's baldness to be fate. A first world citizen child asks questions: why, how, when, where, and gets an answer with argument, logic, experience, and research. When a third world citizen child asks a question, the answer is silence, or a phrase like "it was said," which makes the mind shut and the tongue silent. And when he grows up, he does not ask the same question again, but issues fatwas. If a first world citizen commits a crime, the law applies to him. When a third world citizen commits a crime, the law is tested on him, and if he is influential, the law also apologizes to him, saying, "Sir, there was a mistake. Your servant was implicated in someone else's case." The mind of a first world citizen thinks of a solution to the problem. The mind of a third world citizen looks at his own religion, tribe, language, and relations before the problem, and then lays the solution on the bed of religion, homeland, honor, and conspiracy, until the solution dies and the problem is declared a martyr and becomes a national asset. The first world citizen finds education expensive, but ignorance unacceptable. The third world citizen finds education superfluous and ignorance a legacy. He believes in the breath of the wise sage more than the weight of a book, and avoids Google before praying for treatment, lest knowledge eat away faith. This difference is not only of the mind, but also of fate, but fate always changes for those who change their minds. If a third world citizen just starts thinking that asking questions is not a sin, and that not every promise is spiritual, then perhaps the day is not far when he too can sleep peacefully, without the noise of load shedding and the burden of conscience. Otherwise, the sun rises at the same time in both worlds. The difference is only in the veil of thought. In one, light passes, in the other, only darkness remains.